Hi everybody, it's Beatle Dave, the record collector. I hope you're doing well and dandy out there. This is going to be part 6 of our mini-series, My David Bowie collection. So I hope you've been enjoying the series so far. I hope you've been enjoying it as much as I've been enjoying making it. So we're going to start off with an LP that came out in November 1981. We finished on Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, didn't we, on the last instalment of the mini-series. So this is Changes 2, which came, like I say, this came out in November the 16th 1981. You will have to excuse me because I'm looking at some notes, because I'm trying to do these videos a little bit more professional, but I don't think it's going to work, to be honest. But this was actually recorded, the songs on this were recorded between 1971 and 1980, and it came out on RCA. Because obviously, you know, this was like the time when David's contract with RCA Records was coming to an end, so I think he was trying to get as much albums and stuff out as they could while they could still do it. Some brilliant songs on this. You've got Aladdin Sane, Oh You Pretty Thing, Starman, 1984, Ashes to Ashes, Sound and Vision, Fashion, Wild is the Wind, John I'm Only Dancing Again, and DJ. Wild is the Wind was actually taken off this album when it came out in 1981 and was released as a single. This is actually a reissue. I don't know what's happened to my original UK pressing of this. I don't know if I've sold it when I sold my majority of my records in the early 2000s, or it's in another box somewhere. So this is actually on Parlophone, where it would have been on RCA. So this is like part 2 to the Changes 1 David Bowie. Don't think you get anything extra with this, he says. So you do get this nice sleeve with it, which I think you did get with the original UK version in a sleeve, because that's actually still advertising Changes 1. And then just show you some of the other albums that you could get on RCA Records, although this is on Parlophone. But they're trying to do it, you know, like as original as they could to the original RCA one. So this, apart from it saying Bowie there instead of RCA, this is virtually identical. And this one is 180 gram reissue vinyl. So there's that one. Like I say, some really nice songs on that. As compilations go at the time, this was actually one of the better compilations that came out. Once he'd signed his new record deal, RCA did actually try and get a few more compilation records out while they could. So now we're going to go to, bear with 1 second, I've got to go back to that one there. Then there was an LP that came out in 1982 called Rare Bowie, which I thought I had. Again, I can't find it. I don't know where it is. And I know we had it because somebody cut the thing out the back, and that's got the Italian version of Space Oddity on it. But can I find it? Can I? Hell is like. So we'll have to skip that one, and then we're going to go to this one that was released in 1983. This is when Bowie sort of found worldwide fame, even bigger than he'd done in like the early to mid 70s with things like Ziggy Stardust and Aladdin Sane, things like that. He signed a very lucrative record contract with EMI apparently, although it was classed as EMI America, and released this album Let's Dance. This was released on the 14th of April 1983 and was actually recorded in December 1982 at the Power Station, New York. And it's produced by David Bowie and Nile Rodgers, and it has a running time of 39 minutes 41 seconds, so just under 40 minutes. Very successful album in its own right. Modern Love was a single, Let's Dance was a single, China Girl was released as a single, and then there's a version of Cat People Putting Out the Fire on here, which had been a single before this but had been re-released, re-recorded especially for this album. So it's EMI America AML 3029. So that is side 1, and this is side 2. Now when you see videos of this from when this was like released, we'll go through the tracks. I'll go through the tracks first as what they were. So on side 1 you've got Modern Love, again released as a single. China Girl, released as a single. Let's Dance, released as a single, and then Without You. Side 2 you've got Richard, Criminal World, Cat People Putting Out the Fire, and Shake It. Side 1 I think is probably slightly more commercial than side 2. Yeah, like I was saying, when you watched videos or interviews with David Bowie at this time when he just signed to EMI America, he was wearing like really nice fancy suits, and he dyed his hair and he got it all like, you know, like designer cut and everything, and he got what he wanted. He got like worldwide fame and success. So for the next couple of years, you know, he toured the world. He was having hit after hit after hit. He toured the country. He was making a hell of a lot of money. But later on in his life, excuse me one sec, he actually said that although it was the most successful part of his career, he didn't actually like it. It was probably one of the most unhappiest parts of his career. I think it's because, I don't know if it's people was expecting him to keep doing more and more and more and become more of a showman than what he was, which was a pop star. But you know, it's just one of those things. I always liked that album. It is, looking back in hindsight, yes, it is very commercial, and probably wasn't the sort of album people would expect Bowie to follow Scary Monsters and Super Creeps with. But it made him a hell of a lot of money, and his managers and everything else in the EMI a hell of a lot of money. You know, so we've got to like think of how it did come out. So that was the first album that he made for EMI America. However, RCA was still doing compilations. So in 1983, again, onto there, if it goes on, they came out with this one, Golden Years. David Bowie Golden Years, digitally remastered. And a lot of the songs on this, or some of the songs on this, was on changes too. So you've got side A is Fashion, Red Sails, Look Back in Anger, I Can't Explain It, and Ashes to Ashes. Side B is Golden Years, Joe the Lion, Scare Monsters, Super Creeps, and Wild as the Wind. Bow LP4, this was in the UK. And to be honest, this is, for saying this is a compilation album, I have always liked this because there's slightly different mixes of Ashes to Ashes and things like that on it. On the RCA label. See what I mean about the other one? How they make it look like it's still RCA. Is this worth having in your collection if you're only a casual David Bowie fan? Probably not, in all honesty. If you're a die-hard fan and you've got to have everything in it, then yeah, it is. Again, as compilations go, it is okay. There's some good songs on it. You've got quite a bit off Lodger on this, haven't you, as well? Because you've got, not Lodger. Yeah, Lodger, because you've got Look Back in Anger, haven't you? That was on Lodger. Red Sails was on Lodger. You know, it's what it is. Nice little compilation, but it's not essential to have, to be honest. I've got a couple of copies of that. What's that one? Alright, so now I've got to go. Just bear with 1 second, folks, while I just go back on here for a sec. Right, I've got some notes on eBay, on So the next one to come out was Fame and Fascination. This was released in April 1984, hot on the heels of the other one. Although the songs on here are recorded between 1969 and 1980. This has actually got quite a nice running time, because this goes on for 54 minutes and 15 seconds. So it is actually quite a long album. Side 1 you've got Space Oddity, then you've got Changes, Starman, 1984, Young Americans and Fame. Side 2 you've got Golden Years, TVC15, Heroes, DJ, Fashion and Ashes to Ashes. So there's some slightly different songs on here. Nice photo of David. Well, on that one there, that's actually from the Serious Moonlight tour, isn't it? It's why they got away with putting that on an album for RCA at the time, I don't know. So that is the track listing on the back of this one. Again, this is digitally remastered. If you're not a die-hard fan, you probably don't need this in your collection, but it is nice to listen to, and this is actually in really nice condition as well. Fame and Fascination, David Bowie's all-time greatest hits, it says on there. Which I suppose it was in one way, wasn't it? Side 2. This does actually sound quite nice. When you listen to this, I think the way that some of the songs have been sequenced do actually make sense. They're all more in chronological order on this. He says, yeah. So you start off with 69, 71, 72, 74, 75, 75, 76, 76, 78, 79, 80 and 80. Again, I've always liked this record. You might not. I suppose this one and Golden Years were really like cash grabs from EMI, from RCA, sorry, trying to make money out of an artist that they've no longer had on contract. At the same time that was released, the Love You Till Tuesday motion picture soundtrack thing was issued as well. So it wasn't just like these that were trying to, it wasn't just RCA that was trying to do it, it was a lot of the record companies that had Bowie on their books, you know, from years ago. So, you know, they're just trying to make money, aren't they? Which, in all fairness, they're entitled to do, I suppose. So, we've done that one, haven't we? Bear with one sec. Because also in 1983 you got the original release of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars original soundtrack. It's just going on to the same things all the time. Right, I think what I'm going to have to do that. Right. So, also in 1984, we got his second album for EMI, or EMI America, which was Tonight. Although this wasn't quite as successful as the Let's Dance album, it was still a massive hit worldwide. The UK catalogue for this was DB1. It was released on the 24th of September 1984, just before my birthday. But it was actually recorded from May to June of 1984 at Lay Studios, Canada. Produced by David Bowie, Derek Bramble and Hugh Padgham. This has a running time of 35 minutes and 47 seconds. Got some good songs on this. It kicks off with a fantastic song, Loving the Alien. That should have been a massive hit. It was a sizable hit, but it wasn't that good. Then you've got Don't Look Down, God Only Knows. It's a Beach Boys song, isn't it? Oh, Beach Boys song. And then side one finishes off with Tonight, which was a minor hit, I think. And didn't Tina Turner do a version of that as well? Side two kicks off with Neighbourhood Threat. Then you've got Blue Jean, again, fantastic song. Video to that is absolutely fantastic. Then you've got Tumble and Twirl, I Keep Forgetting and then Dancing with the Big Boys. So you do get the words to the songs on the inner sleeve. And it does tell you there who played on it. That's side one. And there's side two. Again, I think sometimes this is like the David Bowie album that's quite overlooked from the 80s, although it was a massive hit worldwide. Again, made him lots and lots of money. He did a world tour while he was doing it and things like that, you know. So it's just a shame that, you know, the 80s was what he'd always wanted to be. He was like to become a worldwide star, and I don't think he really liked it. I don't think it's put the pressure on him. I just think he sort of like thought he'd sold out. Because instead of doing the things that he actually wanted to do, I think he was writing things that he thought the record company wanted. So that was from 1994. Then you had to wait till 1996 for the next David Bowie album. A couple more tonights there. Which was also the soundtrack to a film that he starred in. So you got some songs by David Bowie, and then you got some incidental or film music by Trevor Jones, and it's The Labyrinth soundtrack. Fantastic film, actually. He plays the Goblin King really, really good, but it's like, it's sort of like an older version of Ziggy Stardust. That's what I always think it reminds me of. So this was recorded in July and September 1985, but it wasn't actually released until 23rd of June 1986. So like I say, this is to a film, so it's produced by David Bowie, Trevor Jones and Arif Mardin. Has a running time of 43 minutes and 33 seconds. So again, it is quite a long record. So you've got opening titles including Underground, then you've got Into the Labyrinth, Magic Dance, Dance, Magic Dance, Magic Dance, Magic. So there was some really good songs in there. Sarah, Chilly Down, another great song. Humiliation. Then you've got As the World Falls Down, The Goblin Battle, Within You, 13 of the Clock, Home at Last, and then Underground. This is a reissue, and this is a US reissue, so it's on Capitol, I think. Original copies of this go for really, really stupid money. So I can't remember if the original album came with this in the sleeve or not. I think it did. I seem to remember it did. And then it, you know, so it is still on the EMI America label. Again, the David Bowie songs that are on here are actually really good for saying that there was only for a film. He acts brilliant in the film. I think people forget that he was an actor as well as a singer, songwriter, guitarist, saxophonist and everything else, you know, pop star, rock star, whatever you want to call it. You know, when he did act, he was actually a really, really good actor, in my opinion. In the films that I've seen him in, like the man Who Fell to Earth and things like that, it's a strange film. But The Labyrinth is a strange film, but at least it has got a story to it, and like I say, he's a brilliant actor in that. So that was from 1986. So if this thing goes right, the next one should be from 1987, shouldn't it? Which when this album came out, I think this was actually considered a bit of a flop. It was recorded between September and November 1986 and then was released on the 21st of April 1987. And it was recorded at Montreux Studios in Switzerland and the Power Station, New York. The LP had a running time of 48 minutes and 6 seconds. The CD, so you must have got an extra track, a couple of extra tracks on the CD probably, or an extra track, has a running time of 53 minutes and 7 seconds. And it was produced by David Bowie and David Richards, and it's Never Let Me Down. This is the original UK copy. So it's AMLS 3117, that's for the LP. If you had it on cassette, it was TCAMLS 3117, but if you got it on CD, it had a completely different catalogue number. It was CDP 7466772. Again, some really good songs on here. This is the UK original copy, by the way, and I've got a reissue as well. I always thought this was quite a good album, to be honest. Starts off with the fantastic Day In, Day Out. Then you've got Time Will Crawl. I had a bad dream full of white-eyed fish and a drowning man with no eyes at all. Really good lyrics, I think. Then you've got Beat of Your Drum, Never Let Me Down, in Zeros. Side 2, you've got Glass Spider, Shining Star, Making My Love, New York's in Love, 87 and Cry, Too Dizzy, and Big Bang. That is a track listing on the back. I think we've got in the sleeve of this, didn't you? So that is the words to the songs on there, which you're not really going to be able to see. Yeah, I always think this is quite an overlooked album. So that is side 1. And that is side 2. There's some good songs on here. There's a couple that's co-written with Iggy Pop on here, I think. Because I know after this album was released, or when it was released, he went on the Glass Spider tour, didn't he? But I think a lot of the songs that were released as singles hardly got anywhere, or were classed as flops at the time, where they'd be classed as a hit now. And I think he sort of got a bit disillusioned with this, and he sort of like said, well, I don't want to be there, I don't want to do this anymore. He did honour the tour and everything, don't get me wrong. He did do an appearance for Top of the Pops, which never got broadcast, by the way. That is the issue, which is exactly the same. You don't get anything different in it. It's all the same. I think the labels are made out to look the same as well. Yeah. So that is the reissue, which I got a few weeks ago. Yeah, I do actually think this is quite a nice album, and I think in one way this does deserve to be sort of like reappraised. Yes, some of it hasn't aged very well, but Day In, Day Out and Time Will Crawl, I think, are brilliant songs. Never Let Me Down, I think, is the appearance he did on Top of the Pops, but by the time it was going to be like shown, it had slipped down the charts. I think that's right, but I could be wrong. Yeah, a very underrated David Bowie album, I think. So once he'd done that in '87, he thought, sod it, I don't want to be doing this anymore. And people thought at first that he was going to retire, but he didn't. He actually formed a band, and he says, I just want to be a singer in the band. Now, in the '80s, that was never going to work, was it? Because everybody knew who David Bowie was. So I think this project was sort of like doomed from before it started. But having said that, they did actually release a couple of albums and a couple of live albums, and it was called Tin Machine. That was the band, and the first album they released was just called Tin Machine. This was recorded in August 1988 to mid 1989, it says here, so it probably had quite a long recording history, and it was released in May 1989. Goes on for 56 minutes and 49 seconds. Released on EMI America, because it was still contracted then, wasn't it, at the time? And it was produced by, Tin Machine and Tim Palmer. So that is the cover, and that is the back of the cover. The track listing is Heaven's Here, Tin Machine, which is actually a good song, Prisoner of Love, Cracked City, not Cracked Actor, Cracked City, I Can't Read, Under the God. Then you've got Amazing, you've got a version of Working Class Hero, which, no disrespect, but it is good, but it's not as good as John Lennon's original, in my opinion. Then you've got Bus Stop, Pretty Thing, Video Games, and Baby Can Dance. He even tried to go a bit of a beard, didn't he, in that? So Tin Machine are guitar and vocals, David Bowie, but I think he played a bit of saxophone as well, didn't he? Lead guitar, Reeves Gabriels, drums, vocals, Hunt Sales, and then bass, vocals, Tony Sales. EMI USA it says on there, although it says EMI America on there. So you do get the words to the songs on the inner sleeve on that side. So that is side one. And that is side two. There's some good songs on it, don't get me wrong. Again, they did do a few tours. I think they even went, didn't they do some gigs in Hamburg as well? To a certain extent, I think it did work for David Bowie in one way, because he just wanted to be a member of the band, although really, you know, if you wanted a bit more commercial success, it should have been David Bowie's Tin Machine or David Bowie and Tin Machine, in my opinion. Because when you know, these didn't really sell, I think he thought, well, I'm David Bowie, but then you didn't want to be David Bowie because you wanted to be a member of the band. They were moderately successful, and apparently they did play when they played live. They were really good. I think it was like one of the tightest bands he had up until this point, from when he was with the Spiders, put like that. So I do think he enjoyed himself, and because he just wanted to be a member of the band, he could enjoy himself a little bit more. So there's that one. Then you got Tin Machine 2, and then I think we're going to call it a day after this one. Yeah, Tin Machine 2. Excuse me. This was released on the 2nd of September 1991, but it was actually recorded between 1989 to 1990 and then March 1991 at Studio 301 Sydney and A&M Studios in Hollywood. Originally this was on the Victory Music Stroke London label, and this was produced by Tin Machine, Tim Palmer and Hugh Padgham, and has a running time of 49 minutes and 7 seconds. There's a lot of controversy over this cover, by the way, because it shows you something it shouldn't, so I'm just going to go like that. And then the back is like that because it's like nude statues. This is actually a reissue on music on vinyl, 180 gram audiophile vinyl pressing, and it actually sounds amazing. This does really sound nice, this album. You have sort of like got a couple of hits on this. You've got Baby Universal, which was a sizable hit. You've got One Shot. You've got You Belong in Rock and Roll. Now, if that would have been released to just David Bowie, that would have been a massive hit, I think. Is There Something? Ampliture. Betty Wrong. Then you've got You Can't Talk, Stateside, Shopping for Girls, A Big Hurt, Sorry, Goodbye Mr. Ed. So yeah, it was. It's hard to do things like this because even though the records could be absolutely fantastic, we know that David didn't like them, or made out he didn't like them and things like that. But I think he did just want to like still tour and record music, and I don't think he was really bothered if he was making money or not, because he'd made enough money by this time in his life probably. So like I say, to a certain extent I think it did work, because it made him want to, like, I think it gave him time to relax and think what he really wanted to do. You know, he's worked with Tin Machine. I mean, they're quite a good, you know, like, there was in having fun sort of thing on most of the videos and things like that. And I think after he'd done this, and they did a little tour, and they did a couple of live albums and things like that, I think then he thought, well, yeah, it's time to just be David Bowie again. Which he did, didn't he? And then when he came back as David Bowie, he wasn't really bothered what people thought. And I mean this in a nice way. I think is, you know, after Tin Machine, and when he went, you know, started releasing records again as David Bowie, I think he just thought, yeah, I'm going to do what I want to do, sort of thing. So to a certain extent, that is what he did. And, you know, if it sold, it sold. If it didn't, it didn't. After that, there was Tin Machine Live, Oh Vey Baby, which was recorded in Boston, New York, Chicago, Tokyo. But I haven't got a copy of that, so I can't really show you that. And then, in 1993, he went back to being solo, didn't he? But I think, if I remember rightly, this album came out just before he went solo. I think it did. Yeah, in 1990 this came out, Changes Bowie. So not Changes 1 and not Changes 2. Although most of the songs on here do appear on those two albums. So this is a double album. DBTV1, Sound and Vision, EMI. So you've got Space Oddity, Starman, John I'm Only Dancing, Changes, Ziggy Stardust, Suffragette City, The Gene Genie, Life on Mars, Diamond Dogs, Rebel Rebel, Young Americans, Famed the 1990 remix, which had quite a good video to it actually, Golden Years, Sound and Vision, Heroes, Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, Let's Dance, China Girl, Modern Love and Blue Jean. Because he did do a Sound and Vision tour, didn't he, as well? I mean, this isn't one of in like a brilliant condition, but it isn't. Mind you, it's okay. That's the labels. So that's like the same sort of photo that was on Changes 1, isn't it? There's a gatefold sleeve as well, which I'll show you. Sound and Vision Greatest Hits. It says there. I think the other label's exactly the same as that one. I think I'm sure it is. I'm saying this will probably be wrong now, won't I? No, it's, yeah, it is like the same labels on all four sides of the record. Do you need this one in your collection? I don't know. So I don't know if this was digitally remastered or whatever. It is a nice collection to have of classic David Bowie from the 70s and the 80s, well, from 1969 into 1980. Sorry, to 1984 this goes up to. Things have come out since that are better compilations in one way. If you can ever find a copy of this and it's not going to cost you the earth to get it, I would say yes, get it. Don't pay over the odds for it. Of course, most of these songs on here now you can stream for free anyway. But then you're not a record collector then, are you? Does a song sound better if it's streamed than it does listening to it on a CD or on a vinyl record? Don't know. I don't know. I do stream music off certain streaming sites, don't get me wrong. Like when I'm in the garden, or even if I'm having a bath or something, you know, I just stream it off my phone. I still prefer to listen to music on record if I can. Can't get it on a record, I will get it on a CD, and then if I can't get it on a CD, then I will stream it. Or if I've been after something for years and years and years, or somebody's recommended something to me, or have you heard this, then yeah, I will stream a couple of songs first to see if it's worth buying it. Does that make sense? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I am very, very sorry that you've had to wait about 3 weeks for this part 6. I mean, there's a couple of reasons. One, I've been doing like really, really stupid shifts at work. 2, I've been getting other things in as well that I wanted to put on the channel. Then I had my birthday and I did the Fines thing yesterday. We've still got another Fines video to do yet, and we've still got to do the Joe Strummer one. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been a little bit of entertainment for you. When we come back, we will start looking at his work, proper work in the 90s as a solo artist again, which will kick off with Black Time White Noise, because this video has been going on now for nearly 40 minutes, which is too long really for a video, isn't it? If you made it to the end, thank you very much. Remember, you are the Beat in Beatle Dave. Thank you very much to everybody that is liking, subscribing and leaving me comments. If I haven't got back to your comments, I will try and at least leave you a thumbs up or and a love heart or whatever. I am getting quite a few comments now, so you know it is getting harder and harder to like answer more, but I will. You just got to give me time to like do it. And to be honest, I'm just knackered. I really am knackered at the minute, and I don't know why, because I've got some days off work and I've just got no energy. But that's for, you don't really want to know about that, do you? So once again, thank you to all. Remember, Beatle Dave loves you. Stay tuned, because there might be another video coming on the next couple of days. If not, it will probably be on Sunday. So peace, love and happiness to you all. I hope you've enjoyed that little look into some more of my David Bowie collection. You know, we've looked at some of the albums there that were highly successful albums that he didn't like, and then there's other albums that personally I think should have been hits that he didn't like, or you know, he thought were good albums when he recorded them. I mean, I think when he recorded Never Let Me Down, I think he thought that was going to be like another, you know, as good as Scare Monsters and Super Creeps. And I think when, you know, it was a little bit of a flop, not a complete flop, don't get me wrong. I think he got disillusioned, and hence that's why he did Tin Machine and things like that. So that's it, folks. Thank you for watching. If you stayed to the end, you've done very, very well. Just remember, Beatle Dave loves you all. So until the next time, please, whatever you do, please stay safe and be nice to one another. And I will see you all again very, very soon. And thank you for watching my video.